Hi, everybody. Welcome to Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat. I'm doing just a quick video today. Hopefully, it'll be quick. Sorry, it's been a while with Christmas and New Year, and then we were both sick, and then we've had an ice storm in Oregon. So it's just been a whole lot of everything happening all in the last few weeks. So I'm kind of late getting my first of the year chat up. Um, let's see what else. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot happening over the past month. I know it's been about a month or more since I've posted. So hopefully I'll get that rectified. Today is January 28th, 2024, and here we go. So I've done a lot over the last few weeks. We've had Christmas and everything, and I didn't do a whole lot of knitting for Christmas. We make jams and jellies. Most of our presents have been like that. I did do a few gift knits. I did do socks. Quite a few of them have been gifted already, so that's a thing. And I did forget my finished items. Hang on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. So I grabbed one basket, but not the other. So the first finished item that I have is my Cozy Daisy blanket. There's no way you're going to see all of this. It's not very large. I did it out of acrylic yarn. I'm going to give it to someone who's having a baby soon. It's 2, 4, 6 wide and let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7 long, which is what the pattern called for, I think. So I don't know if I just didn't aggressively block it enough, because I just kind of blocked the edges after washing it. I threw it in the washing machine and kind of folded it in half and pinned the edges down. I just did a quick block. I'm not sure if it's the dimensions. I didn't check it against the pattern, but the pattern's awesome. It's a crochet block. You do the middle and then the flower petals, and then you go around it with the green, and then you're sewing them together with the green, which I just did a single crochet together, and it did open it up a little bit. I think it needs to be more aggressively blocked, and that would open that up quite a bit. And I might try to do that before I gift it, because as it is, you can see how it just kind of comes together, and I think it would look better with that stitch definition there in between the motifs. I just need to get a bunch of my quilt blocking foam pieces, puzzle pieces, and put them on like the kitchen table or something, because I really don't have a big enough floor space right now to put them. But that's all about Amy. You can get that off of Ravelry. That's the Cozy Daisy blanket. The other thing that I've been doing quite a bit of is pot holders, as you can tell. I have Bev's Turn On Itself pot holder. It's on Ravelry. I did them. This is the first one I did. I did it exactly to pattern. It's rather small. I mean, to me, it's more of a coaster size. It's almost the same size as my little bohemian crocheted coaster. So I didn't really like it. I used the hook and everything, so I don't know what happened there. The next one I did, I went up a hook size and I did just some scrap. I had some orange and white. This is, oh, what do you call it? The sugar, whatever that you get from like Walmart or Joann's, cotton type stuff. I had some orange and white, and I didn't have quite enough, so I just had some white or ecru, whatever you want to call it. So I did a couple of stripes in just that white, and on the back side where it folded in on itself, it striped it on the corners, and then you sew it together. Really cool pattern. If you crochet at all, I suggest that. I did, I think this was a I hook. I think it calls for G. This was on the G. This was on an I. This was made to pattern, and I think she calls for 30 stitches to chain and start. This one I did 41, but I did it on the I, and I wanted it bigger, and as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger. And then I started doing G hook, 41 stitches to start with, and that got me what I wanted. And this is how big it is compared to the I hook. So the I hook is a little bit larger, but I chained for 41, and then I started the pattern, and I have awesome pot holders. So I have those. I have also made a dishcloth. I think this is the broken rib dishcloth. That's just out of Pima cotton. I have a book, and I didn't bring it in here, but you can get it on Kindle. It's just knitted dishcloths. I can't remember what the name of it is. It's nice because each pattern for a dishcloth, it tells you how to do the dishcloth. It says cast on so many stitches, knit for so long. I just knit. I cast on, and then I knit up to where the cast on edge will fold up and make a triangle with the top edge. And then that makes me know that it's square. So that's how I do mine. But on each pattern, it also tells you how many to cast on for a dish towel. So right now on the needles, I have a dish towel. Oh, I do have that book. I'll show it to you in a minute. The other things that I've done is a couple of, I call them cup huggers. They're cup cozies. Small. You can put them on. You can use the button, or you can not use the button. You can put them on the, they're reusable sleeves for coffee cups. Here's a jar. It's just better if I show you. I think I have this on Ravelry as well, but it's just a reusable sleeve for coffee cups. Couple of different sizes. These are crocheted as well. I think you're like, this is a small, but this is big for like a bigger cup. I think I use a size G or H crochet hook, and depending on what yarn you use, that's how it's going to come out. These are the exact same stitch counts, but this is a big heavy worsted weight yarn, and this is just a piece of cotton that I had scrap of, and my hair is all over everything right now. You start out, you start out like chaining, say 20, and then you just keep going, single crochet. You wrap it around what you want to put it around, or go so many stitches, you know, so many rounds or what have you. And then you just start decreasing until you get to a point, and then you do your little chain, and then you want to wrap it around your cup to see how far your button needs to be able to go around and kind of hold it a little tight. And then you just sew your button on, and then you can just take them and button it up and slide your cup in and out if you're using it for sleeves for coffee cups from the shop, to go coffee cups. Or you can take and I'll show you on my mug here. This is just my empty tea mug. I don't have any tea right now. I don't actually have a drink, so but you grab something warm or cool or whatever you want. This is not exactly the right size for this mug, so I'm not gonna button it because it's a little too tight. But what you do is you put the triangle part through your handle and you pull it around and you button it, and then it keeps your cup nice and warm. This is more for a very small cup, so I didn't want to stretch it too much. I like to get like small posh coffees if I go somewhere. But I've got those. And then the other thing that I've got is hats. This has not been washed. It's not been blocked. I have two different ones here. Greatly size differential. I have a Centro knitting machine. I got the adapter. This one was done by hand. So I'm just knitting a round tube on that Centro knitting machine. There's so many videos on YouTube on how to set that up and how to take them off. I don't need to do any of that. This hat was cast onto it, cranked until it was probably about 130 to 150 rows. It kind of depends. I just did it until I ran out of yarn with just enough to sew in ends. And the way it's done is when you take it off, you have an end up here and an end down here, kind of like a sock tube. And you cinch this side, well, you pull them in together. So you have a knitted side and you have a purl side, and you can see which is which. This is reversible because it's the both on the same. You're going to fold it right sides out in itself and have both ends down here. You're going to cinch the inside one first, cinch the outside one. You're going to tie them together. You're just pulling to cinch them together, sewing them together. You can put a pom-pom. I really don't like the messy finish that it leaves. So this is a finished hat, but it's not a finished hat to me because I like to put a pom-pom on these. It kind of covers that messiness up, but not everybody likes a pom-pom. And then it leaves a nice long hat. And when you fold it, this whole hat is worsted yarn. It's double thick. And then whenever you fold this, it makes it so nice. And it stretches good. I just need to wash and block it. And then these little lines will go away. I did the exact same thing with this. This is a Red Heart tweed yarn. Have set it on here before. I have a closet here and I have a closet off to the side here, and there are boxes of yarn, and it's mostly one skeins of this, one skein of that. So I'm trying to figure out ways to use them, and this is what I did. The Centro machine, if you go on Amazon, there is a connection piece. It kind of, let's see. What is that? I don't know what that. Sorry, I just had something fall. And I don't know why it fell. And I don't know where the other piece went, so I'll have to look for it. Anyway, like this is the crank arm. It has a piece that just kind of sits over the crank arm, and it has a drill bit that comes out, and you can just put a handheld drill, and then it does the cranking for you. So I recently got that. I really wanted to give it a try, and I did yesterday. This is an entire skein of a Red Heart Super Saver Tweed or something like that. It's like a sage green with tweedy bits, which is very pretty. I don't know if you can see it, if it's getting kind of blown out. It's almost the same color as my shirt, a little lighter. This was an entire skein. This is doubled up. This one is so big that if you wanted, you could fold it up twice. You can leave it folded once. If you've got somebody who has a really big head, they can use it. I had a little more trouble with this one. I don't know if it's, you have to kind of be careful with the yarn. But I made another one yesterday, and it's just, what was it? Lion Brand's Heartland yarn in a tan. So soft and squishy. My partner's already grabbed it. Perfect hat. This one I had a little trouble with. I think it's just the yarn. You can see it's got just a little blip here and a little blip there. It's not bad. I'm going to wash it, see what it turns out as. They're charity hats. I'm not saying that that's okay to give them messed up hats, but I'm doing it to get that yarn out of my stash, and I can give it to someone who really needs a hat, and it's lesson hats. That's what I want to call them, because I'm learning how to use that drill with my hat. It took me 30 minutes to do a hat from start to finish. So that's my makes. That's my finished objects. Not all of them. I was going to show you. I have all of those finished objects in this basket. I'm just throwing them in the basket and letting them be. So now I'm going to talk about works in progress. Sorry, I'm bending all over and everything, and things are getting crazy. I showed you last time my 2024 notebook. I have the Lane notebook, knitting journal. I have another knitting journal I got from Amazon. I have junk journals and notebooks everywhere. This is more, I guess I would say, a planning notebook, because what I did is I have these dividers in here. I wrote down what I kind of wanted to do in January for the month. Because when December rolled around, I was like, you know, I don't have gift knits. I don't want to rush to do it. I found some really cute ornaments that would look really cute on the Christmas tree at the office. I have a little tabletop Christmas tree. When the kids come for Christmas, we do put up a tree, and I thought that they were really cute. So on my January, I just wanted to try to incorporate doing that all year long so that when it comes Christmas time, I have some of those things. So I had written down that I wanted to do ornaments, that I wanted to do at least 3 or 4, because I have some small ones picked out, like a little hat, a little mitten, a sweater. There's a string light crochet ornament, no sew Christmas fabric stars. Those are what I wrote down. Now let me tell you, I have not done an ornament this month. There's 3 days left in the month. Today's the 28th. We have the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. And I'm most likely not going to have any ornaments done in January. The reason being is the little sweater pattern that I picked out to use. It was a free pattern. I can't remember if I got it from Ravelry, but it was just the most horrendous thing to try to knit. So I didn't do it. I've also decided that if it doesn't bring me joy to knit it, it's going. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to knit it. Which has been very good this month in what I am doing. So no ornaments. I have my miter square blanket. I wanted to at least try to get 3 squares done. My jelly roll blanket, to have 3 additions done. To make a dishcloth, a pot holder, a cup wrap. Make 3 hexagons for my beekeeper's quilt. Make a winter gnome. A child's hat, an adult hat, a child sock, an adult sock. Do some selfish knitting, which is like on a sweater or something. Add a flower to my hexie quilt with my English paper piecing. To make at least 5 crosses for my plus English paper piecing quilt. And make 2 quilt blocks. That's a lot for a month. But that's what I wrote down, because that's what I wanted at the beginning of January to work on. So let's go into what I did work on. I'm not going to tell you like days that I did this and days that I did that. In January so far, with 3 days left, I've put 5 small miter square sections on my miter square blanket. I've made 4 pot holders, 1 dishcloth, 3 of my English paper piece crosses, and that's whole crosses. My English paper piecing, the cross is 4 pieces together. They're about like 1 inch long and like this, and they're tapered. And you have to put your fabric on your card and sew them together. I've done those. I've made 2 Moors bags. If you don't know what a Moors bag is, I suggest that you look it up. It's really cool. It is, sorry, I actually had a phone call coming in. It's just taking scrap fabric and making like a 18 by 20 shopping bag. And then I have some labels that you put on it that look like this. See if you can read it. You can see what it is. And it's a movement that started in the UK. And I have a pod, and I've got 2 bags made already. Which is just going on saying, hey, I've made this many bags. I've given this many bags. I did the 2 because I was trying the bags out. I got the labels. I sewed the labels on. And now I want to make some more, because they have little flyers that you can print out and put inside the bag. And you're just using scrap fabric, you know, putting together a shopping bag. And You put a flyer in, and when you walk into the store, you can just leave the bag in a cart with the flyer in it about using plastic bags. I'm not pushing eco-friendly. Um, I don't want to stand out there and push something. Sorry. Um, I don't want to push something in somebody's hand. I cannot stand that when I'm shopping and somebody does that. What I'm going to do is make the bags, put the flyer in, take them to my work, and just leave them. We have a table where people can leave things in the break room. So if somebody wants a reusable bag, they can have a reusable bag. I've made 2 rice bags, which I'll show you one in a minute. 2 adult socks, 2 gnomes. I'll show you one of those. 2 adult hats. That's actually 3 hats because I did that other one yesterday. And 3 hexagons for my beekeeper quilt. I guess it's not a lot, but I have more for next month. I have next month written down already as to what I would like to do, which is basically the same. The hats, the socks. I'd like to make another pair of fire pit mitts from Taylor Earl, which is wool needles hands. Work on my beekeeper's quilt, work on my miter blanket, work on my jelly roll, make another dishcloth. I have an idea of a Valentine gnome. Not sure if I'm going to do that one or not. Work on a kid's sweater, add English paper piecing, and make a couple of quilt blocks. But that might change too because, I was saying that the ornaments, I just really didn't find patterns that I liked. Arna and Carlos, and I think it ended last night. Arna and Carlos just had a pattern sale where a lot of their patterns were 70% off. So I got Christmas ball patterns from Arna and Carlos from 2023, 2022, 2020. I don't remember how many I got. And I got the Nordic sweater, Advent sweaters pattern, where it's the cute little Nordic sweater that has like 1 to 24 on the sweaters. I'm going to see about that. I may not number them, and I'm not sure if I would do the color work. I think the first one that I do, I would probably just make solid colors. But even then, I think it would be really cute. So I made out like a champ on their patterns. They were like $2 a piece or something. So now I have different patterns for different ornaments. And I know that those patterns look good when they're done. So I'll get started on those. So I may decide to make like a Christmas ball and a Christmas sweater. Or maybe one month and one the other month. It depends on how it goes, on to how many of those I get made. But I would like to make them. So that tells you what I've finished as well because of the fact that I had it written down. I plan on doing that every month. And I went on there every day and wrote down the day, like yesterday. I finished my little gnome. I did 2 adult hats cranked out. I did 2 miter squares on my miter square blanket. Last week I did jelly roll for 2 sections, the fingering weight, finished a pot holder, worked on a simple dishcloth. That kind of thing. So I'm I have what I'm doing every day, and I'm writing it down because there's a lot of times I think I am knitting, 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 and nothing's getting done. And this shows me what I'm working on. I seem to be finding joy making pot holders, dishcloths, socks, and working on my big blankets. So maybe I need to step away and just do those for a while and making my little gnomes. So today we went shopping, getting new furnace filters and stuff. And during that, I started a pair of socks. That's how much I got done. The cuff. That's it. I cast on, I'm trying a new setup because I've been doing my socks in 64 stitches. And on the leg, the cuff, that feels great. But the rest of the sock, it feels too big. So I did my cuff. I'm doing like 10 rounds on 64 stitches. And I just did a round where I just finished this round. I did 4 decreases. So I did 2 decreases on each side. The slip, slip, knit on the beginning one, and then the knit 2 together. And then I did that on both sides. Then what I'm going to do is use, I'm at the point where I'm going to add the main color. So this is just some leftover. I can't remember what it's from. It was a leftover color. And I'm pairing it with this, which is, it's a tonal that is very close to this purple. And I think it would look amazing. And of course, the first color is a light pink. So that's going to be really cute together. But anyway, now that I've decreased from the cuff, I'm going to do 60 stitches on the leg and the foot. And what I plan on doing with this is it's vanilla sock pattern, magic loop. I'm going to cast on or join in my heritage main color, and then I'm just going to knit a tube. And I'm going to put a stitch marker every 10 rows, and I'm going to do 60 rows, and then I'm going to do, well, it's 61 rows, and then I'm going to place markers, or I'm going to add waste yarn. I'm not sure which I'm going to do for afterthought heel. And then I'm going to knit 61 more rows, and then my toe. And it may be less than 60, but I'm going to do those in a 60 stitch count and see how the socks feel after that. Now, Heritage Prints is a 75% superwash merino and a 25% nylon from Cascade Yarn. This is color number 135. I'm not sure if I want to go down another stitch count because it is superwash, but I think I'm going to leave it at 60 and see where that hits and how that feels, and we'll see from there. So this is a new pattern. This, I'll turn it around back because I got that big old stitch marker. Squishmallow, whatever. Anyway, these are just charms from a charm bracelet. This is Safe Space by Shenanigans. It's on Ravelry. you start with a flat edge, you go up, and as you're going up, you increase, and then you get to the middle, and then you start decreasing, and it's going to be a hexagon. And it looks like a little honeycombed join as you go blanket. It's gonna be so cute. And I have all of these scraps. So I've talked before about my miter blanket. I've talked about my beekeeper's quilt. The jelly roll is found on Ravelry. All of these blankets are on Ravelry. I have bits of yarn left over like this after doing socks for kids or even socks for myself. I take the bits, I do a miter square, and then I do a hexie for the beekeeper's quilt, and then it was going to go into the fingering weight jelly roll. Well, some of those, I've started the jelly roll, I stopped. I've started, I've stopped. I was going to do DK, I was going to do this. I can't make up my mind, so I just went with fingering weight, that's it. So I've got a piece that's, I don't know, that long on the jelly roll, and then I came back and started with the second roll. I'm not doing all one big old long roll first. I'm just doing it in sections because I have it in a basket at work so that whenever I have video trainings to do, I have to keep my hands busy so that I'm paying attention to what's being said. Otherwise, I'm looking over here, I'm looking over there. As you can tell while I'm doing videos, I'm always either talking with my hands or I'm looking off to the side and I get distracted. So by working on something small like this, I can keep myself busy and I can pay attention to what's going on and so on and so forth. So I do have the jelly roll there in a basket, but one of the sections is like really long. It's a black piece that's like this long. And I don't mind having the longer sections, but I think it would just be, I like the mismatch. Like I have a little bit of this one and I have a little bit of that one and, just here and there and yonder. But there's some really big leftovers here. So I can do the miter square, the beekeeper, the safe space, and then what's left can go into the jelly roll. And that way I don't have these huge bits of fingering weight yarn just sitting around. I have functions for them. So there you go. That's the safe space. I'm sorry, I'm not good with adding things, pictures and stuff. I do this unedited. I try to put links below. I don't always get them, but I try. The other thing that I did that I wanted to show you is this little guy. He's my goblin gnome. When I sewed his hat on, I had it sitting one way, and I guess it slipped while I was sewing it. So the flowers are more to the back than to the front. I thought about adding one or two here to just kind of cover the whole side to make it look more even. I'm not sure. But isn't he cute? This is what it is. It's a kit from Amazon. It's Hello from Crocetta. Everything you need to make him is in here. It came with yarn, stuffing, needles, the whole 9 yards. It also came with how to crochet for a beginner and a little pattern. Now I must tell you, this little guy actually has a crocheted nose and beard. I don't like that. So I took the white that was for the beard and I connected it before I sewed the hat on. Like you would a tassel. You just put the crochet hook through, bring through a loop, and then loop it back through. And then I use a pet brush from Dollar Tree and just combed out the beard to give it a more fluffy beard. And then I hot glued a pom-pom for the nose. I also use some wood beads that I get from the Dollar Tree sometimes for noses, but it kind of depends on the gnome itself. So what I wanted to tell you about the pattern, I'm not going to like show the pattern, but this is everything you get in the kit. All of that. You get everything. Scissors, needle, a glue stick, stitch markers, tapestry needles. All of that comes in here. Even a tape measure. So it was about $15. It's worth it. It says it's a beginning pattern, a beginning kit, beginning crocheter kit. Quite frankly, the way the pattern's written, the way the instructions are done, if you don't know how to make something like this already, it's going to be a little difficult. I don't recommend it. I do not recommend for beginners, as it says, but I do recommend. It is so cute. It also, other patterns that I do has you, once you finish the bottom, lay it down on a piece of cardboard and draw around it, and then cut the cardboard out inside the line so it sits down in the bottom so that it sits up better, easier. So I did that. So there's one gnome. The other gnome that I did is called the Winter Gnome. I can't remember if I got it off of Ravelry or not. You can just put in Google crocheted gnome patterns, and there's one that comes up. She basically has a pattern for every holiday for a gnome. It's really cute. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the winter gnome. I did in blue. It's bigger than this. It's blue body and hat that has a little curve. The only thing that I have to do for that one so far is to make some little snowflakes to go on his hat. But I took it to work. I have a shelf in my cubicle where I keep all my little gnomes. The other thing I wanted to show you is I'm making a dishcloth. I mean a dish towel. Whoopee. It's a dish towel. This is the broken basket weave pattern. And of course it comes off. So that's what I've gotten so far. Another squashmallow. It's in a bright orange. When I get the dish towel done, I'll be making a dishcloth to go with it. So I have a matching pair. That right there is done in Fibra Natra cotton. My local yarn store had some. It's a sport. This is in the color Carrot Cake. This is a Pima cotton in the color Carrot Cake. It's a 50-gram ball. She had some different colors. She had it on clearance for like $3 a piece. And I got it thinking, okay, I'm just going to do one, a dishcloth. And then I was like, you know, the book that I have has dish towel and dishcloth, and wouldn't it be cool if I gave somebody a dishcloth and a dish towel that matched, and then maybe a pot holder? Not maybe exact match on the pot holder, but you know, get a pot holder, dishcloth, and dish towel. That would be cute. So, easy knits dishcloth, easy knit dishcloth. That's it right there. That's my book. Hella Nygaard. I'm not going to try to pronounce that name, but you can get it on Kindle. I have it on Kindle, and I have the paperback. I found the paperback on sale at like Michael's or something, so I snagged it. Because when I'm doing patterns, I'm not great with paperback. I mean with digital, because a lot of times we're riding around where I don't get service. So anyway, the carrot cake, the Futura cotton, I was able to look up and order more from Premier Yarns. So I got several more. I think it's going away, and because it was on sale there too, so I was able to get 3 or 4 more. One 50-gram ball of that yarn will do a dishcloth and have some left over. So this is the skein of the blue that I did with the dishcloth, and that's how much I have left. And I don't have my scale so that I can see how much it is. But the dish towel, I mean, I'm down to that much left, and you saw how much I had done. 50 grams skein. I figure it's going to take 2 to do a dish towel. So I may get with what I ordered, I may get a dish towel and 2 dishcloths out of it. We'll see. Because I'm not sure if that Pima cotton would make a really good pot holder. I kind of like the thicker cotton for the pot holders. So, next up is a pot holder. As you can see. Oh, I guess I'm using an H hook for my pot holders and not a G hook. So the orange and white one that I did was on a I hook. This is a H hook. And I can't remember if that's 2 pattern or not. I thought it was 2 pattern. It may be 2 pattern with the H. And the small one that I did with the G was too small. But I haven't started very much on this one yet. You start by crocheting a chain, and then you just go around in a circle the whole time, and then it just starts to fold in on itself. This is another easy crochet project. And I have a dishcloth in here. I've got it on some short size 2. This is some cotton that I got on sale. It's Universal Cotton, Supreme Waves. This is in saltwater. This is a 100-gram, 100% cotton. It's really soft. It's soft like the Pima cotton. Skein. It was on clearance at my local yarn shop, and that's what this one's made out of. And this is what's left. So the next color is right here. So I started it. Here is the beginning color, and then it went to this kind of bluish color, and then it went into, it seamed with the gray, and then the dishcloth starts with the gray. So it's just garter stitch dishcloth. I'm just doing a simple one because I have that dish towel going. That's the broken rib basket weave. Sorry, my mother keeps calling. The pot holder that I'm doing is Love This Cotton in a print color. It's called Cinnamon Cedar. I have 3 skeins of this. So I'm doing the pot holder first, and then I'm probably going to do the same thing with the other skeins. Is I'm working the pot holder, then I'm going to do a dishcloth, and then I'm going to do a dish towel. Not sure if I'm going to do simple stitches or if I'm going to do a pattern because it's heavily variegated. I will probably just do the simple garter stitch. Because I think that would be the best with that color. And not sure if you know, but crochet uses more yarn than knitting. And so once the pot holder is done, it'll be a little easier to gauge the towel and the dishcloth. This is one of my rice bags. Isn't that just cute? I got a gift card for Christmas, and I was able to get fabric, which is the little gnomes. My drawstring is just seam tape that I have fused together and tied on the ends. The tabs are just made from some I got, what do they call that, a cake of fabric where it's 10 by 10 squares. There's some one-off colors. So there was the red and white hearts. There's like a country farm scene with you can't see it, but like benches with books on it. And then there's the green hearts. So the outside of this bag is 5 squares that are about 6 or 7 inches a piece. I think they're 6-inch squares that I cut out, and it's sewn together in a box with the bottom. And then the inside pieces are the same way. I have some iron-on fusing for one of them. I put it on the fabric for one of them. And then I sewed it all together, turned it right side out, putting the tabs in. And then you just put the seam tape in and cinch it up. I love it. It's a perfect little project bag. The other one I made is bigger. It's more like an 8-inch, and it was really Christmassy themed, where it had gingerbread campers and stuff like that. And I did it, and I used some burlap stuff for the tabs, and I really don't like them. So I'm trying to figure out if I can just pick the seam up here and get those out, or if maybe I can just turn them under and like sew them down and do something. I don't know. Anyway, what's in here is just a men's 64 stitch count sock out of Croy's Patent Croy Socks FX that I had in my stash on a 9-inch circular needle. I do find working with 9-inch easy sometimes. And I did a couple pairs of socks, and then I realized that hurts if you do it all the time. So I was doing single sock setup. I may do the other sock up to the same point and just put it on magic loop, because when I do 9-inch, I do put a marker halfway through, and I may just magic loop this. We'll see, because I'm not getting anywhere with those socks. I started them like 2 weeks ago. I've got a lot of whips going. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 whips. And that's including my English paper piecing. So, we'll see. This is a basic beanie. It's a 2x2 rib. That's all it is. On a size 6 needle. 16-inch circular. Chagu red lace. The yarn is Loops and Threads Joy DK in the color Tropical. I actually had 2 of these. I got them when they went on clearance at Michael's. You see how they were when I got them from the store. That's how they were. That's how they went in my stash. I really hate that. But they were really at a price where I couldn't pass them up. When I got them, it's been over 2 years ago. That's how long some of this stuff has been in my stash, and why I'm so drastically wanting to knit them up. That Croix patent sock and everything too. When I got them, they were like $2 a piece or something like that. I just can't pass things like that up. I know I have a lot of whips, and I know I have a lot of yarn, and sometimes when that happens, I just can't pass it up. So that's basic beanie. Where did I get that pattern? From Almanacker Knit on YouTube. It's free. He was doing that's Andrew. He was doing a hat gift knitting, and that's the pattern that he had for free for that. So that's something that I want to do. This one I want to talk about because, as I was talking about, I have had this yarn in a bag trying to be socks for a year and a half. I was only doing toe-up socks. I thought that was the only way to go, and then I didn't like the cuff because I could never get the cuff to stretch over my leg. I could never get it to not flare. I actually started knitting cuff down socks with the Hermione Everyday sock pattern. Loved it. The Crazy Sock Ladies sock patterns, cuff down. Love it. The cast on, the cuff, they fit so good. So I just do the vanilla socks, and I use her cuff basically, and you just make them whatever size you need. Like, I have a son who needed a 72-inch sock stitch, so I did a 72-inch sock stitch. But this is the Coffee Talk socks. Gorgeous waffling, gorgeous pattern. Love it. You're doing the pattern on the front. You're doing a stockinette on the back. Simple cuff. She does a 2x2 cuff. I did a 1x1 because I like that better since doing the Crazy Sock Ladies pattern. It's got this ridge down. I love the pattern. This one pair of socks has been trying to be this pattern forever. I've tried doing them 2 at a time. I kept getting messed up on the pattern. I tried doing it magic loop 1 at a time. I was having gaps on the sides in this pretty pattern here that it happens on the side, right here. So I went to 9 inch. I am ready to mark for my cuff on this sock. My hands are killing me. I can never get but one pattern repeat before I have to stop. It has taken me 3 weeks to do the leg. I can do a vanilla sock in a weekend, a whole pair. This pattern doesn't stop on the leg. This pattern works all the way down to the toe of the foot in the exact same way. The only thing is you're working the heel on the back. These are coming out. I hate to say it, but they are coming out, and they are going to be taken all the way out to the cuff. I'm going to put my lifeline in, and I'm going to do another cuff, and then I'm going to do 2 at a time, cuff down. And I may even take them all the way out and just start from fresh again for the 5th time with this yarn. I look at this yarn together. I can't even tell you what it is. I don't have the bands for it anymore. I can't tell you what it is. But look at the colors together. They are meant to be together. I want them as socks. I don't wear hats enough. I don't wear scarves enough. I don't wear anything else enough to have them be anything else. But that yarn needs to be a pair of socks. And today they're coming off the needle. They're starting over for the 5th time. And they will be 2 at a time vanilla socks with a 1x1 cuff for 15 rows with an afterthought heel. That's all I can do. I don't know what else to do. Now, the last thing that I have is a while back I got tubes. I sent away and had tubes made for some of my yarn for some socks. This is what's left over. So I sent in the yarn, had somebody crank a tube for me, which was ridiculous. I love it. I did the 64 stitch count tube. I love the way it turned out. It was amazing. But I paid for shipping to have my yarn sent to someone across the country to make me a sock tube and then mail it back and me make socks out of it. That's why the ones that I started this morning are just going to be, I've started the cuff and then I'm just going to knit all the way down, leaving for my heel, doing my toe, and that's that. So these, I made a pair of socks for my partner, and he's already been wearing them. This is what's left over, so it's just enough for some shorty socks for me. So this one doesn't have the heel yet. I still have to cut it in. But there's the toe. Here's the afterthought heel on this one. If I do it this way, you can see them a little better. And then they're just going to be short socks, which is amazing. Because when you have this much left from a pair of socks, and you can do that, that whole skein of yarn was used. I don't have any of it left over. The only bit that I had left over was already used because When I measured for my socks, this one was longer than this one. So I put the toes together. I, I, I added the toes to the tube, and then I lined them up with one another. And then I went all the way up. Actually, that one's longer. So anyway, I put the toes together. I went all the way up, and now I'm doing the cuff. And then when I get ready, I'm counting down the rows, and then I'll take that out. There was a little bit left over when I started the other pair of socks. That's what it was. That needed to be taken out. And I've already used it in my jelly roll because it wasn't enough to do a miter square. It wasn't enough to do a hexie. So I just put it straight in the jelly roll. So there'll be just a little bit. There's like, what, 4 or 5 rows there that I'm going to have. And that will probably either be put in a jelly roll or I'll put it in my safe space, because I'm thinking I have magic ball, fingering weight magic ball that has just little pieces sewn together, and I'm thinking about doing like a solid hexie on my safe space and then a striped one and then a solid and then a stripe where I use every little bit. But this is the last thing I've got to do, and this is going to be easy because it's just adding, at this point, a couple of cuffs and another heel. I've already done the toes. I just haven't picked it up. And I really do need to pick it up. So that's all of my works in progress. I don't have anything else going. I try every day. I have this basket right here. And I have all of my whips in this basket. And I try every day to grab a different bag so that I can finish these whips off. But like today, I just started this pair of socks. And how many pairs of socks did I show you? So it's redundant. I get bored easy. That's what it is. So if something's not catching my attention, I still have a sweater on the needles that I haven't shown that I'm trying to make for one of the granddaughters, so that I can turn around and make the same sweater for the other two. We have 3 granddaughters that were born in the same year, so they're all turning 7. One just turned 7. Another one is about to be 7. And then the last one will be 7 in July. And they're all round about the same size. So I'm trying to finish one that lives closer to me so I can see the fit on it before I do the other 2 who live further away that I have to mail them to. And when I went to I got it all done. And when I went to put the sleeve on, it just looks so messy. I don't know what it is. And at this point, and see, I was taking that as my riding knit because it was just a simple sweater from Tin Can Knits. And it's simple stockinette stitches, round yoke, stockinette stitches. And I think it's because I was writing and my tension is bad. It looks horrible. At this point, I have the body done completely, and I'm putting in the sleeves, and it's way up here, and it just looks so bad that I'm considering taking the whole thing out and just trying again. And if I do that, I'm probably going to do a different sweater. I don't know. I think just a simple raglan would be the best at this point. Um, it's my first attempt at like a circle or a round yoke sweater, and I'm not liking the way that my tension is on the shoulders. I actually added the sleeve and I went a little bit and I tried fudging it and I just don't like it. So this is my month of, I've got 3 days left in the month. I've worked hard on that sweater, but because I'm not finding joy with it and I don't like the way it looks, I'm not going to finish it. So that's going to be frogged. The coffee talk socks are going to be frogged. I'm thinking maybe if I want to do the coffee talk socks, I've not made a DK weight sock. I've always just made fingering weight. And I think that that might be the pattern that needs to be a DK weight sock. So maybe it won't hurt my hands so much, but I want that pair of socks. Anyway, there's not much going on except for I'm continuing to try to read my literature books, or at least listen to my literature audiobooks. At this point, I think since the last time I've finished Pride and Prejudice and A Tale of Two Cities. I enjoyed both of them. I really enjoyed listening to Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen because everybody, or almost everybody, has seen the movies. I mean, seriously, there's the 2000, I think it's 2005 version with Keira Knightley, the 1995 version with Colin Firth. There's a version that came out even earlier. Um, I need to look at that. And then I just found out that Bridget Jones's Diary is a modern day interpretation of Bridget Jones's Diary, a modern day interpretation of Pride and Prejudice. And Colin Firth plays Mark Darcy in that movie. And I have never seen Bridget Jones's Diary. Love Colin Firth. That's my favorite version, 1995 version. So I highly suggest that you watch those and read that. The book is a little bit more to it. The 1995 version with Jennifer L. and Colin Firth, I think, to me so far, does the best interpretation from the book. It's amazing. I know he feels like he will never, ever, ever live down the Mr. Darcy, Mark Darcy type stereotype, but I think he has. He's so good in everything that he plays in, Colin Firth. I've watched a lot of his movies, and I've gone back and watched one or two that I didn't even know he was in. It bypassed me that was him. So, like The Kingsman, and The King's Speech. Oh my gosh, that is such a good movie. So I recommend The King's Speech. The Kingsman is hilarious and he's funny. And then I watched one of his very, very first movies last night called A Month in the Country. And it was actually really good. That's based off a novel that I think I'm going to try to see if I can find at my local library. So I guess that's it. I said it was going to be short and it's been over an hour. I have no tea. I need a drink. So I'm going to go and get back on track with my videos, hopefully, and call my mother because she's called about 50 times during this video. So I'll see you next time. Have fun.